Hi everyone, my name is Julia and I am the Global Account Director here at Konsyg. Now, chances are if you're with us today, you're looking for a little bit more insight into what Konsyg is, but also some insights into business development, sales extension, and how regional market adaptability work. Now, I'm going to be jumping in to demystify some of these processes and also hopefully shed a little more light into what we do and how we do it, but more importantly to us, why we do it. Increasingly today, we're seeing technology markets around the globe having increased competition with requests for greater customer localization across new verticals, but this is compounded by the challenge of ever shortening cycles and pressure for returns. Now, unfortunately, there's never one size fits all. Everyone seems to have this idea that there's a golden ticket, and when moving tech into a new industry, we find that sales is only accomplished through activity. So, this is what we do. We are incredibly active and we work to establish open communication with our partners to thoroughly evaluate what makes strategic sense and then to do it. And to do it again and again and to maintain it, grow it, and then work for return value on investment. And so to us, this is what sales really means. It's a space that makes many companies deeply uncomfortable, and understandably so. It's estimated that less than 30% of US CEOs have a true understanding of what actually happens when their product or service reaches market. And this is based on the fact that many of these companies have multi-focuses and there's quite a multifaceted number of demands resting in a single person's pocket. And so this is where we really exist. We're comfortable in that uncertainty. We are leaders in these areas. And so we bring together leaders in the market. If you look into our leadership, you'll find that we come from a basis in ex-Google knowledge managers with deep regional and global insight and experience in these areas. And so, although you can see the offices we've got detailed along the bottom of the screen here, there are many more on the way. I'm currently speaking to you from the Vietnamese office, and we're currently expanding. The reason being that we find that we need to use our insights to inform individual campaigns and that we are able to help our clients move into the global arena. So we use these insights to drill down into specific regions. So if you're looking for a little more information on how each region engages the market, please feel free to pause here. Konsyg established feedback loops in these markets and has built this knowledge over decades. So this has helped us build a real clear baseline on what is happening, but also through continual feedback cycles, we can hone in on the insights relevant for a specific product and help it to reach critical mass to gain traction. We find that markets differ in their behaviors and their cultures. We find that there are differing consumer needs, budgets, but also that products and services differ in their legislation across all of these different areas. And so therefore Konsyg has established itself as a globally minded company that partners companies sort of across different regions for this reason. We find that global market landscapes are multipolar, and so with tech making it possible for language, information, and culture to be shared in real time across every market, there needs to be a large degree of agility and comfortability with scaling. And so we can summarize this sort of as what we do. We are typically classified as a white label sales extension service and consultancy for technologies to grow their sustainable revenue and develop for the long term, as well as maximizing ROI. So ultimately, you could take this vast basket of experience and summarize us as a B2B on-demand sales consultancy for globally minded technology firms. Over here, I'm going to talk a little bit around what we see the primary challenges are facing our clients, because we find that although we operate across the board, we work for multinational enterprises, so kind of servicing their obscure locations or partnered with their existing sort of sales as a powerhouse and extension in that way, but all the way through down to sort of the SME backbone of the economy. And for those technologies that are currently working to shape the markets that we're involved in real time. And so, despite the diversity in size, we find that the challenges many of these companies face are similar, if not of differing magnitudes. The primary challenge that typically faces a sales department is lack of experience. Unfortunately, this simply comes down to the fact that it's very difficult to find, hire, train, and retain people that have extensive sales leadership and experience in the same services, products, markets, verticals that a particular company may be needing. And it's very difficult to rest all that responsibility on one individual. And so this is why Konsyg has adopted a departmental sort of division, and we work as a team to tackle every aspect of a business's sales and extension outreach. We also find that unrealistic expectations make it very difficult for a sales team to deliver on what is being anticipated by leadership. This is compounded by a lack of sort of strategic leadership. There's often a lack of product market fit, as well as budget misallocation. It's also quite difficult for a single sort of unifaceted sales team to take the correct content, develop highly tested and sort of trained messaging, and then A/B test it in the market in order to generate strong feedback loops. And so in this way, there can be a training and culture deficit, as well as a general lack of functionality with a resistance to change, and sometimes there's a resistance to feedback in sales teams. And therefore, we find that in order for a company to sort of realign its sales strategies, we need to bring leadership and the internal teams in step with how sales work. And for new startups, this can be especially challenging. Where I'm seated in APAC, we see that consumer tastes adapt incredibly quickly. And so we work with our clients to respond to industry moves before there's a restructuring within the market. And it takes a lot of feedback and a scientific approach to adjust to this information. And so we don't just act, we research and then we act fast. You may be wondering how we do this. So Konsyg is a consultancy partnership that offers end-to-end sales and business development. But we also work across the pipeline generation phase in terms of sales function consultancy and direct sales. We also see ourselves as leaders in uncovering sales cycles. This helps us to upsell to new markets or regions, establish a global presence for a particular brand, and then serve to generate leads, prospects, and nurture those relationships to close. With, of course, beyond that, sort of a long-term maintenance cycle. And so, in this way, you can see that our team is globally based and globally minded. We have dedicated departments for thorough market research. We offer lead generation and sales management. And so the pipeline development then goes through highly trained investigative teams who partner a service on its global expansion or when tackling a new vertical. Because we hire the best, we also help our clients do the same. We do believe in numbers. We believe that being able to understand regional and temporal fluctuations really helps us to understand sort of key market moves and how central tastes could help us to develop a clear and untampered picture of the saleability of a product. So we don't always tell a client what they want to hear, but we do help companies remain globally relevant and increasingly competitive. You will also see on this slide, we're just chatting about the volume. And so we do not, while we continue to deliver volume of leads, we will always work to preserve the quality of those leads, which is something I'll chat about a little bit further on. At the outset of a campaign, we work to generate a database of contacts specific to your needs as a firm, tailored to a unique phase of growth for that particular region and industry. So, one of our clients described us as helping him to snipe in infrared. And so, what we really mean there is that we find the right people to talk to at the right time. As I mentioned, we deliver quantity, but not at the cost of quality. So, in the lead generation phase, we only qualify those people who are a good fit for the business. And so, the ideal goal here is to reach key decision makers in specific regions with a good fit for that particular business. And they are thoroughly qualified in terms of their budget, needs, timeline for implementation, and how long they'll be using the service for. And these criteria are established in an ongoing and highly implemented feedback cycle through a client's meeting phases. Based on our case studies, our clients say that the volume of activity is around 5 times versus internal efforts, but that we are also 45% more affordable than internal headcounts, which also is sort of combined with the fact that in terms of effectiveness, we're around 70% more effective than the internal headcount. And this comes down to the fact that Konsyg is a team and has feelers and sort of temperature testers across the world, with leaders based in all of our offices worldwide. And so when you partner Konsyg, you're partnering a global team and a team of leaders. So unfortunately, we have to chat about the numbers. And so this is because sales teams don't come cheap. So we believe in transparency and open pricing. We're on demand and we establish a two-way dialogue. So we save our clients approximately 70% in what they would typically spend on sales. And of course, they obtain an entire team to boot. Now, we do not operate on a commission basis, which is always something that our clients really appreciate about how Konsyg likes to work. And this helps us grow a sales campaign to critical mass. Typically, we work through a deep dive, which helps us to generate training, a call guide, a playbook, messaging, and then we can A/B test this for implementation, at which stage a campaign is ready for kickoff. We typically find that tailoring and outreach initiation are reached within around 2 to 3 months, and we can typically see pipelines form within around this time. Sales processes and cycles mapping can occur in tandem. So by around 6 months into a campaign, it becomes apparent how best to build sustainable revenue and sort of generate a model for long-term maintenance in this front as well as growth. And so if we do our jobs well, our clients no longer need us. But we are fortunate that many of our partners have been around since our inception and continue to work with us for years. And so this is the best measure that we can use to sort of calculate the value that we add to a company. And so if this is something that could be useful for your particular firm, or if there's any interest in a little more insight about your regional market, please feel free to reach out to us. You can contact us over email or you can visit our website. We can get ahead and sort of schedule a deep dive, which is arranged in partnership with our leadership team. And so you have access to some of the leaders specific to your market. So please do feel free to reach out to us if there's any particular concerns. questions or sort of a strategic analysis. And from there, we will discuss, we can move through sort of the way that this implementation process works, which at every step of the way is managed on a partnership level with proposal, agreement, and reevaluation throughout. And so if you would like to visit our website, please feel free to check it out at www.konsyg.com. Drop us an email, drop us a LinkedIn. We're on all the main social medias, and looking forward to hearing from you soon.